Chio, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Talk to me first of all about the last 24, 48 hours and what that madness was like for you.
I had a bit of a preparation. I think I spoke to the manager on Thursday before the game and before we prepped for a derby, and I had a positive chat with him. I think it was best, after the extent of the injury, being out for 9 months, it was best for me to chase regular football. It was best for my career, club career, and my international career. And I had a positive conversation. Listen, he wanted me there. He thought I can offer something, but I needed to play as much minutes as possible. And we had a discussion, and it was best for me to find football. So I had a bit of a prep, yes, going to clubs. I was fortunate. I'm fortunate in my position that I have a bit of a reputation, so I had some options. And when Sheffield United came in, it was an easy decision for me because I've lived there for 4 years. I kind of know about what the club is about and stuff like the ethos. So it was just a long day. In terms of doing medical and stuff, but I had a heads up going into before I came into camp.
Do you think the arrival of Casey McAdoo to Ipswich had an effect on your thinking in terms of game plan?
No, I think when Casey actually came through the door, I thought it was a good signing for the club. I knew that 46 games in Championship plus Cup, we're going to need help, and Casey coming in, it was a good signing, but. I've always wanted to play games. Selfish of me, I don't like rationing my minutes, and I think it would put my career in a better position. I wanted to develop. I want to focus on myself, and I think it wasn't just about Casey. Whoever came in, regardless, I spoke to the manager, and I just wanted to get a gauge of where he sees things, And I just wasn't happy not playing as much minutes, especially being out for so long, and I didn't want to lose this opportunity to be here. You know how international football means so much to me and my family. So I think it was best for maybe myself, maybe for Casey. I don't want to put him in a position where both wingers are competing against each other, rationing minutes, and then none of us are ready for here. So it's best I go and find football, play regular. Casey play regularly, so strengthen the squad for international. So that's what I was looking at.
But you are fighting for a position maybe in the Ireland team.
Yeah, everyone's always fighting. I'm very grateful to be here. We left up some really good players. Festi's not here. Malombi's not here. Some very good players that missed out because maybe I got a seat in the team. So I've sacrificed a lot to be here. I was diligent with my rehab. I had a really good pre-season. I even played minutes. So I did what I could to be, and even that I'm here. The training session was intense today. Nothing's guaranteed. No one is promised anything in this life. No one's promised anything in this team. So you still have to prove yourself. I come in here every time as if it's my first camp. So I still have to prove myself to the manager.
It's good to see you back.
Thank you.
Stand up, please.
Chiedozie, how disruptive has all that been? I suppose it's so much going on, you're trying to secure the move, and now you're coming in for arguably, the biggest game we're going to have, certainly in the group, to try to focus on that. It must be an awful lot going on.
No, I think being out injured for 9 months is, I've seen life in a different perspective now. I think I'm more focused on the right things in life. I think on Thursday, as soon as I knew, I'm fortunate I have good people around me. My agent, we organised it. Apart from the long day, it's forgotten about. It's sorted now. Training today, all I was focusing on is trying to make sure that I put myself in a good position come Saturday. So. As disruptive as it looks from the outside, I promise you, it's not affecting me. It's forgotten about. I'm just happy that it's boxed off now. I'm not worrying about it. I have people at home, my partner doing a lot of stuff for me. So I'm just locked in here and just focusing about Saturday.
You used the word refocused you there. Injury. How does an injury like that, I suppose, change you as a player?
First of all, you appreciate life for what it is. Listen, when my Achilles ruptured, I always want to know the answer. I spent a lot of hours trying to get to know my body, so you appreciate a lot of things in life. There's some things you can't control, and you learn. Well, obviously, watching a lot of football for 9 months, you start to understand it a bit more. When you're in it, immersed, it's 100 miles an hour. Maybe the stuff the manager says you don't really understand, but when you're out of it, watching it from the side, it's a really good educational purpose to watch a game and. go to the meetings and, understand what the manager is. So you see it in a different light. It was like almost not like I was a coach, but I was like, okay, that's what the coach is on about, But when you're in it, when you're tired and you're emotional, you don't get to process all these things. So it was a good time for me to grow. I spent a lot of time watching clips while I was away, watching the team play. And as soon as I came back, I was trying to implement it in my game.
Do you feel in a great position now to go and try to attack and get those jerseys at club and international level week in, week out?
Yeah, as I said, I know how my days were in rehab, how much homework I did, and I spoke to John Egan, I spoke to Gavin, and they obviously had previous Achilles. Spoke to them about their mistakes or what they noticed in their journey, so I made sure that I put those things in my rehab early, even though I didn't have those journeys. So that's why I had a very good and smooth and successful rehab. And I spent hours in the training ground, and the kit man would vouch for me. I was leaving there almost 5:30, and I felt sorry for my partner who was at home on her own, but it was for the greater good. And I'm so happy that it's all paying off. I had a wonderful pre-season. My body feels as fit as it's ever been, as strong as ever been. So I'm really excited.
Chio, you worked very hard to get to the Premier League versus Luton. Suffered disappointment in relegation. You get a move back, and then the season is effectively taken away from you. How kind of long does it take to stop feeling sorry for yourself? Like, when you've worked so hard to get to something and it's taken away like that?
I'll be honest with you. The first 2-3 weeks, I was very emotional. I think I was more emotional because I felt like I let the club down. I've just been in the club maybe 3-4 weeks and ruptured my Achilles. I felt like I wasn't able to give them back for believing in me. How my mentality is when people give me a chance, I always want to offer myself for them. So I was a bit emotional, disappointed, just didn't know why. I just didn't know why, but you get over it. And then I just switched my mentality. A lot of stuff happening while I was injured. My partner and I, we had a child. I have a son. So my perspective in life changed. And I was just dialed in life. So, the first 2 weeks was difficult because I always want to know the answer of why things go wrong, but some things I can't control. But just getting that rehab, speaking to people, people that past former footballers, and they gave me the advice that some things you can't control, and I just focus on the stuff I can control. And I was able to, have a better bond with my partner, and be there for the pregnancy, and that probably helped me heal. And I don't know if most of you know, but I spent a lot of time offering myself to the community in Ipswich, and I got to, I became disability ambassador, so I was able to, see life in a different perspective and offer myself, and I learned a lot. Knowing what I know now, if I go back 9 months, I would rupture my Achilles again. I'm a lot wiser now, and as I said, spending. Maybe I was underdeveloped in the gym, so I was able to understand all these things. So there's a lot of knowledge that I acquired being injured. Different type of person now. I don't fear a lot of things in life anymore. I'm grateful for a lot more things. Not like I wasn't before, but the journey that I had was it was a unique journey. With a relationship with my partner, the relationship with the club, appreciating kids, knowing what we mean to these kids. I had, obviously, my sister is Down syndrome, so I was able to connect with her as well from learning, going to these community appearances. So it was a massive year for me for development on and off the pitch. And when I'm on the pitch, who cares about a bad training session? When you see these kids, and it's a lot of things now, and I train better now because I don't dwell on the past, which when you're young, you want to impress and you want to do a lot of things. Now it's like I feel like I'm more efficient in what I'm doing, So that was a great journey for me.
Last short one. Given that you got the Premier League from where you were before, do you feel you can get back up there again?
I believe so. Listen, there's some things I can't control, but I believe that if I get regular minutes and I play the way I believe I can play, I will put myself in a good position, and I'll put, hopefully if my current club can, go up, or I can go up with Sheffield United, but I believe it's a good team that I'm in. Sheffield United, we've signed some good players that I think they'll turn things around. When I was there, I had a good feeling about what I was doing, and some things I can't control, but I believe I'm better than I was before, and I'll show it. It'll just be a matter of time. I'll get to my groove, and I'll show it.
Thank you.
Hi Chio, how are you? I was just wondering, you said you were watching a lot of clips last year when you were injured and things you want to improve on what you've improved. What specifically do you see yourself improving on?
I think like as a winger, like listen, as wingers, we all want to look good. Some of us, obviously, a lot of us idolize Neymar and these players, but watching clips now, it's all about efficiency. I know sometimes I'll be on the pitch and I don't get enough touches, and I'm saying to the manager, I'm not getting enough touches, and he'll be like, be patient. It's not about how many touches; it's what you do with that touch. So I'm watching clips, I'm watching players, and you realize maybe sometimes you have 2 touches, you have 2 assists. That's more important than having 10 touches, doing 10 step overs or back heel. But when you're young, you want to maybe, and I've learned as well about entertainment and doing my job. Sometimes as a winger, you want to entertain, but at the end of the day, it's a job. You need to do your job and you need to win. So all these things now I've separated entertainment and efficiency by watching and understanding. And you're sitting with the fans and you understand the frustration of the fans because they're looking to win. Sometimes you want to like get that applause, but you get the applause when you do the right thing. So all these things, I was rewinding my clips and watching, my teammates and what they're doing, and why is the manager overreacting and stuff. And all these minor details now, if I'm on the pitch, it's not playing for, what is nice. It's now I'm playing for efficiency. As a winger, I need to be more dangerous. I need to make, crosses and stuff. So all these minor details is very important to be the level that you want to be in,
And just when you were in the Premier League a couple of years ago, I think it was well known that you were the fastest player, even according to stats and stuff. Have you lost any pace when you look at your GPS numbers now, or is still the top speed?
No, my top speed is fantastic. When it's actually funny enough because I was worried about that. I was worried, and when I spoke to the specialist, he said that because I was like, I don't have good range in my ankle, and he said no, a stiff ankle is actually perfect for a kind of player that I am. And then when I came back in my rehab in pre-season, I ran at 10.2, and then I ran at 10 meters per second. So at a consistent level, sometimes, prior to my injury, I would probably run that maybe once every 2-3 weeks, but of course I was playing more games. So that gave me the confidence that I am where I am, and where I want to be. And if I can replicate that week in, week out, I think I would be a lot more dangerous than I was before.
Thank you.
Just sorry to back to the injury briefly, but you say it was a good learning experience. Initially, in those couple of weeks, though, was there any time where you felt like really this, really bad, that this was going to be a season?
Yeah, I think when I spoke to the specialist, he said, listen, you he said it's going to be a long journey, it's going to be the hardest rehab you're going to have. Obviously, I said to you, the 2-3 weeks, I was very emotional, I was disappointed. Why? And he said, I may or might not be back for the end of the season. And I done some research about Achilles and, the setbacks people have. And most of the time, it's when it's rushed. So I calculated and I made a decision myself that I have to accept that this season is gone for me. If I rush this season, maybe I might not be sitting here. I might have gone through setbacks and I'm not back. So it was a difficult thing for me to accept that maybe the season have to go for the greater good. So as soon as I accepted that, my journey actually went very smoothly. Some players, they believe they can get a couple of games and, you risk a future for the present, and I didn't want to do that. I know what was at stake. I spoke to the Hamer before, after I got my injury, and I told him, like, my aim is to put myself in a position to be selected, even if I am or not. So that was my aim. It wasn't worth playing. And even at that level, even if I'm back, I'm not going to be up to speed to the Premier League. So you have to accept stuff. And as soon as I accepted the injury, it was the best thing I could have done for myself.
And just on this window, what would the minimum requirements be, do you think?
For this camp?
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I always put pressure on ourselves. I would be going in hoping that everyone has the mentality we want to get 6 points. That's the way the manager sees it. That's the way I see it. I'm sure the players see it. You don't want to put yourself under pressure and you're chasing and you have to beat countries like Portugal. I'm putting that pressure on myself. I want us to get 6 points, minimum 4 points. But I don't want to sit here and say I want 4 points because I don't want 4 points. I don't want that. I think we can be Hungary if we do the right things, and I think we can be Armenia. So I think that's what I would hope. The way you guys are training, I'm very confident that we are focused and we're trying to get 6 points here.
Yeah, please. Sure. Just funny enough on that note, I was going to ask you. You mentioned earlier about the competition for places with the squad now. Has that created an extra buzz around the squad here this week? And do you think confidence maybe is at the highest level that you've experienced within the Ireland squad? From
my experience, every time people come here, people work very hard. listen, there's competition all the time, no matter who's there. I think the level has gone up. You know, like this forward line, just trying to think. We got Smodix, myself, we got Mikey Johnson, we got Adam and Evan. Like, anybody can play. Anybody can play in any position. So, like, what I saw today, the energy level was very high, and which is good for the manager. You want the manager, if you ask the manager, he probably doesn't know the team. And that means the boys are training well. You know, you don't want to know, I know this guy's going to play. So I think it's a good culture we've created. People are putting pressure on themselves. It's funny enough that I sat here and I was, you know, one of the younger players. I mean, I'm 28 years old. I'm one of the older players, and I'm telling guys to lock in. You know, it's funny how it changes, and people look at me as, you know, one of the senior players, and I just try to do the things that, you know, the likes of, you know, when I was here, Callum Robinson, you know, Jeff Hendrick, these guys were doing for me. So I think I'm very happy what I saw. You know, I'm very happy what I saw. I have a really good feeling about this camp.
You mentioned there when you were injured about the injury work you were doing as well. What exactly did that entail? What were you doing?
So every player, usually every club, you go and you do your tutoring of all ages. Some people do soccer schools, some people do educational purposes. I just happened to do, I went to a training session, and it was with kids with all disabilities. And I went the first time and I went the second time, and, you know, there was kids that, you know, I blame myself, I didn't even think they were had a disability. Some things you can't see. And, you know, something I can relate to, you know, growing up with a sister with Down syndrome. So I kept going, and, you know, I kept learning, you know, different things, how to communicate and understanding. Because I was like, I seen that behavior on my sister, but I don't know what that means. And these kids would tell you what they're, you know, experiencing. And I was able to take that home, you know, and understand. Not saying that, listen, my sister, we grew up with my sister, we fought together. Like, she was, you know, she had a tough life like we did. So it wasn't like she didn't get anything special, which was probably good for her, because she was able to feel, you know, what we felt. But, you know, when I went to these things, you know, it was amazing, the things I was picking up and stuff I've seen before, you know, I've lived at home with. And it was, you know, no matter what, I remember one kid came to me, and he said, Chio, no matter what, you're still one of our favorite. And I almost cried, because in my head, I'm just a little kid just coming doing my job, you know. But to us, we mean a lot to them. So it made me like, you know, I have to be the best version of myself, because you don't know what lives you're going to change. You know, and me being there for 30 minutes, you see these kids going home and the parents coming to you, sorry, thank you so much. And I'm just like, I changed their lives. I've only been 30 minutes. So it's so important to offer yourself to the community, because you don't know whose life you can impact, you know. And now it's really good for me.
Finally, David.
You kind of mentioned your sister now. Has that strengthened your relationship with her and the work you've been doing over the last month?
Yeah, I always had a good relationship with my sister. She calls me every day. But you tend to appreciate a few things. Listen, I seen my sister. I was maybe too hard, like, you know, she said something to me, I'll fight back, you know. That's how we had a relationship, because she was like part of the family. No matter what, we'd fight over the remote. But as you get older now, you know, you appreciate what she is. You know, you appreciate what she does for you. You know, she texts me every day. Maybe I didn't take it for, I wouldn't say I take it for granted, but I was like, oh, she's texting me. Now, like, that text message that I have with her, it's, you know, obviously she lives with my older sister. My older sister tell me, like, oh, she's just been smiling all day, and that makes me happy, because I don't know that. I just think, oh, she always says, oh, you're the best footballer in the world. You know, and I would laugh as I'm not, but to her, that's all I am. You know, I'm just a brother, and I'm the best of whatever, you know. So, no, I don't want to get emotional, but it's something that, you know, when they say stuff, you know, it really means, like, it means a lot to me. And knowing that I'm impacting her life, I just think, oh, I'm just your brother, but I mean a lot more to her than I think, you know. So it's something, maybe I don't. Some days I might be like, I'll call her down the week, but you know, every day I call her now, and it changes her life, and I can hear in her tone of voice, and it helps me knowing that I can make a big difference, because obviously I offer myself to the community, but I have a sister maybe that looks up to me so much, but maybe I take for granted because she's just my sister. I feel like I can just call any time. But, you know, it's really important to reach out to your family, no matter who it is. You know, you never know what you can say to them. Even saying hi to them can change their lives, you know. And obviously I've moved away from Ireland, from Cork, and she just calls me, when am I coming home? I wish I can come home every day, but, you know, she just wants to see me, and she just sees me for who I am. So And she doesn't know, she doesn't just care. She thinks I'm the best, but she loves me for who I am. It's unconditional love they give you, you know.
Will she be at the match on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I'll have to organise the community, but they do always come. They do always come. Obviously, we play, and I'm in Dublin, so I spend the next day with them. But I think we're shooting off early the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm very confident she'll be there.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.